Anybody else like to sit up here with me? Yeah. We have the font sticking out a little bit, but I think it'll be okay. How are you guys today? Good. All right, well, I have a story to tell you all today about a kindergarten teacher who loved her students very much. I think you probably had a kindergarten teacher like that. Okay. Well, some of these kids have had very hard lives outside the school. And this kindergarten teacher told a story about one boy whose parents had something happen, and they couldn't take care of him for a while. And a police officer came to the school one day to take him to a foster home, and where a foster parent would give him a home again until he could live with his parents and they could take care of him again. Well, you can imagine, the boy was upset and he didn't want to go. He begged not to be taken away. And his teacher said that she would make sure that he was okay. She did everything she could. And his foster parent would take good care of him, but he was still pretty sad and upset. And then she got an idea. She found a stuffed animal, and she told him that she wanted him to love it and take care of it until she saw him again. And then he went with the police officer to meet his foster parent. So, a few weeks later, he came back to school, and he seemed to be okay. But he had something important to do, something that was on his mind. He gave the stuffed animal back to the teacher, and he said, "I never let him be lonely." Can you imagine taking care of a stuffed animal or a real animal like that? I'm sure you can. He had a job to do, didn't he? And it helped him while he was away from his family. He knew that he had to take care of that animal. Okay. Well, in today's gospel story, Jesus is praying for his friends. He's talking to God shortly before he'll be taken away and killed. And he also is giving them a job to do. He says, "As you have sent me into the world," he says to God, "so I am sending them into the world." So, being sent into the world means that they will have responsibilities. They will have a job to do. Okay? They'll be Jesus' representatives in the world. So how does Jesus like us to act as his representatives? Kind. Respectful? Yeah, those are good things. Any other ideas about Jesus, how Jesus wants us to act in the world as his representatives?
Merciful.
Merciful? What did you say, Ron? Tell people about Jesus. Okay.
Feed the hungry.
Yes. Okay, so all of these are ways that we act as Jesus' representatives in the world. Okay. The bottom line is loving and caring for other people, right? Okay. All right. So in today's first lesson, Jesus has already left his friends to return to God. It's after his ascension, like it is today. And his friends, who are by this time called apostles, which means the ones who are sent out. Have you heard me say that before? I'm sure you all have. I say it many times. But they also believe that they need one more person to fulfill their whole number, because they only have 11, and Jesus had 12 disciples. Okay? Judas left the group when he betrayed Jesus. So, they want one more person, and they decide they are going to choose this person, and they pray to God to help them choose, and they do a choosing exercise, and the man who's chosen is named Matthias. Okay, so now Matthias is going to have work to do that he didn't have before. Telling people about Jesus and healing them and sharing his possessions and acting in all the ways that we just talked about, right? Now, I think the interesting thing about the boy and the stuffed animal is that what helped him was not the promise that someone would take care of him. That wasn't it, was it? What do you think helped him? The teacher helped him. And what did she do? What did she give him? Yeah, the teddy bear to take care of. So, that was what helped him. He had a job to do, to care for one of God's creatures, even if it's only a stuffed one, right? And that was so important that he gave all of his time to making sure that his animal was never lonely. That's a hard thing to do. That's a hard thing to do even in our families. How can you make sure that somebody else is never lonely? But obviously he was always with this animal, right? He probably knew what it was like to be lonely. So he was like an apostle to his stuffed animal, sent out to take care of it until he could return it to his teacher. What do you think? That sounds good. And that's a very important thing for us to do too. Did you know that we're apostles? We are. Yeah, we are. Because Jesus came and lived and died for us, and we are to be his representatives, so we are sent out. So we're also apostles. So, and we know what that love is like for ourselves because he loved us first. Okay, so here's a very important thing. When we're baptized and confirmed, we hear two very important questions. Will you seek and serve Christ in all persons, loving your neighbor as yourself? And will you strive for justice and peace among all people and respect the dignity of every human being? And we answer, I will with God's help. Because we know we can't keep important promises like that without God's help, right? All we can say is, I'll do the best I can, but only if God will help me. So, in a few minutes, we're going to hear from Rachel and Chloe about the trip that they're going to be taking this summer, learning about a time and a place when black people were not treated very well, not with dignity. And they'll have the opportunity this summer to learn more about focusing on justice and peace among all people. And we will be able to help them today through our prayers and our money to do that work. It's very exciting. So listen very carefully to them. Sometime you might be able to do something like this. So this is them continuing being apostles. And it's very exciting. Thank you. You can go back to your seats.